So this week's featured violin is a 1926 Giuseppe Pedrazzini. There's already a video of this violin. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. It's a very interesting instrument, and I particularly love playing on it. I chose to play this violin for this program mostly because of how quickly it responds. We performed Stravinsky's Firebird and Bartók Violin Concerto No. 2, and there's so many passages in those pieces that necessitate really having a quick response time, and that's what this violin does. I'll give some examples later in this video where you can see how the violin just sort of kind of shimmers and moves in certain ways that is very, very individual and unique. So let me explain a little bit more in depth about what I mean by fast. So if I'm playing a trill, for example, there's very little effort on my part to kind of get this violin to respond. You can see I'm really lightly touching the string with the bow and lightly touching the string on the fingerboard with my left hand, and the violin just kind of pops. And if you have to play through some fast passages, it really makes my life as a violinist that much easier. In the previous video, I chose to play Strauss's Don Juan, which is a violin excerpt with lots of fast passages and lots of delicate things as well, whereby you really need to kind of have the violin respond immediately. So let's just talk about the sound of this violin. All violins have a certain baseline sound, anything from a little more narrow to medium to wide. This violin is a little more narrow to medium at baseline, very sort of distinct and direct, and that's what this violin is. On the other end of the spectrum are violins that have a little bit more wider of a bass. Now this is purely personal. I like things a little more narrow to medium. Others like things that are wide, where you can coax and kind of dig in a little bit more. Purely subjective. But what's great about this instrument is that it's very powerful, and it really just projects so easily and fills the hall with, like I say, with very little effort. Stay tuned to the end where I play some Mozart and you can really hear this violin resonate in the hall. So the bow I chose to pair with this violin is a Hermann Luger. It's a really phenomenal bow. It's a very strong stick, very strong in the upper half, and it's very delicate in the lower half. Again, really responds perfectly to this instrument. It's also very well balanced, frog to tip. It feels very light in the hand, even though it's very strong. So let me give you a quick example of why I think this bow and violin are so well matched. In Mozart Violin Concerto, you have these short notes. What I'm doing is putting barely any kind of sort of weight or pressure on the bow, and the notes just ring out so true. And the trills and the endings, again, it's effortless. The lower register just has so much complexity. There's so many colors there at my disposal. There is one passage in the Bartók Violin Concerto that is high up on the G string, and you have to play quietly. It was no trouble at all to kind of get those notes to sound without kind of really digging in. It just popped out. So take a listen to the excerpts at the end. Again, this violin really is a player's violin. It really is so much fun to play. I enjoyed it, and it made my life that much easier this particular week. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more violins coming up.